What's up? Welcome back to the Patreon section. Oh no, this is not the Patreon section. My boy, my bad. This is YouTube. See, welcome back to the Siris King show. See, it was when what happens when you get robotic. It's gonna be short. I just want to kind of comment. I didn't expect. It's funny when I did two videos with black people in mind. One about Native Americans and the one about should they get initiated in it was not really EFA. I said ATRs. I expected the Native American one to get more play, right? But the should African Americans get initiated in ATRs? Like I got a lot of comments. And the comments are interesting. I can't say they were unexpected, but I would say this: there was a few comments that people said stuff, and other people came in and kind of just reacted to what they were saying, right? So there was one comment where a person said, "We don't look at no, we're not African, right? I guess for Black Americans." And then another comment said, and this is from somebody who, I know they're at least part Black. I don't know. I can't say they're totally Black, but I know they're part, I don't like to know, but I know they're from America and have at least, I think, from what I've seen, right? I could be wrong. But then the person was like, well, you look Black. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, right? And it's more like, and then another person was like, well, Black Americans are not, we Egyptian, and Africans are, no, we're not African, Africans are pagans, we're Egyptians. And then somebody else says, huh? And I mean, this is like cringe shit, to be honest, right? This is like, one person was like, yo, we should just be secular. I actually agreed with that dude, right? With that dude that said, you probably should be secular, to be honest, right? And, so there was good comments, right? And the other dude was like, well, what has it done to Africa? Why should we take it up? And again, I'm not trying to convince you. Like, if you look at the video, I was kind of saying you shouldn't, right? I wasn't saying it's bad. I wasn't saying anything. I'm going to have a video about a whole bunch of ATRs probably in the next few days. I'm not, I've said it, I said it on the video. I'm not a fundamental Black American. I have respect for the movement. I got a lot of love. I look at us as cousins. I look at us as an outsider, ain't gonna tell no difference anyway. So I don't really get into all that shit. I like to call that the sport wars. I don't get into all that, right? But you have your own politics, though. I do get into that. Like, you got your own, right? So you gotta do shit that works for you, right? So if some people said we should be secular, or y'all should be secular. Another person says, I'm only gonna say, like, when you tell me, well, what has it done for Africans? I'm like, I don't even know what that means, to be honest with you. I get what you intend to say, but was Africa horrible before colonization? And I'm not one of those dudes. Look, states are gonna be states. When I say states, I mean country. Countries are gonna conquer countries. I ain't one of those crybabies. I'm not one of those naive motherfuckers. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not naive. Like, countries are going to conquer countries. When somebody says, what has it done for them? I'm like, Africa had, like, their own empires. They had more gold. So how much gold they had? Like, if you research Timbuktu and the Mali Empire, that was one of the centers of learning of the world. See, I'm not one of those Black dudes obsessed with Egypt, so I don't have to mention Egypt. I'm gonna mention. You said the Ethiopian Empire, right? The Muxum Empire. Like, you see that? Like, that was a respected empire. Like, I don't know. Like, when people say, what has it done for them? It's like, are you judging Africa by when they were conquered, or are you judging it before? And yeah, you could go into all the kind of shit, like, so that's why another comment was like, they just have beef with Africans, and they should, and because of that, they don't want to learn from them. That's the funny thing. That's really the reason why. You know what's funny, when that guy made that comment? That's the real reason why they shouldn't do the ATRs. Not for anything people said, except what he said without even knowing it. He said it from the angle that they have conflict with Africans, right? Or they don't want to learn from Africans. right? I mean, I literally had people come in and say, we have different ancestors in Africa. I'm like, different? We sure? Like, your DNA don't say that, brother. What different ancestors are you talking about? And it's funny, on a Native American video, I said it. You guys are mixtures of 4 or 5 different groups. So from that aspect, you're unique. And I'm talking about 4 or 5 different African groups. I'm not even talking about, you might have some native blood, you might have some white blood, and I like to get specific. Scottish blood, Irish blood, shit like that, right? I didn't even get into that part. Because I know the person said it's not talking about that. He said, we have different ancestors. I don't know what that means. Like, all that seems emotional. But it's emotions that people have to go through. That's why in the video I put up, How to Rob, about the gods versus the Hebrew Israelites versus I saw somebody else, right? Black gods, black Hebrews, or black Jews, somebody else. I'm basically talking about the 5%, the Moors, the Israelites. Like, these are all movements that were made in good faith, but these are all movements that were made from, like, started from scratch. Meaning, you start from scratch, right? It's like if I come in and say, I'm an occultist. I didn't start from scratch, though. I used the ATRs to build my occult knowledge. And then I incorporated occultism. I guess wisdom or knowledge from other systems. I didn't start from scratch. I knew what an offering was. I knew what God's word. I wasn't the big God. I knew what ancestors. So then, because I know ancestors, that's dead people, I kind of, that's necroscience and necromancy. Like, I had a foundation. I didn't start from scratch. You know what I mean? And because of some imaginary friction, this is imaginary. It is imaginary. When somebody says we have. But let me finish that. Let me say this. But because of the racial mind in America, there's people who I respect. There's a few people, I don't respect much people on the internet when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to ATR shit. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't. So much so respect that you will never see me getting in a back-and-back conflict with any motherfucker. It doesn't have to just be ATRs. The only people you will see me get in conflict on YouTube is white occultists, to be honest. That's more of a challenge, right? I would give you that. Some Thalemite OTO, yeah, that I'm ready for that shit. I'm ready. That I'll do. And they're on the internet doing some ATR shit. I don't. Whatever. They're gonna have their little audiences, and they'll be like how powerful they are magically. And I'm scared of them. Yeah. All that. Yeah, sure. You know what I mean? Like I said it before. If I can do what you can do, but you can't do what I can do, I'm never going to take you serious. Right? Just saying. I don't care if you got initiated in any AGR. That's 1. You got initiated in 3. Most of the time, most likely, if it's YouTube, you're an outsider. No matter if you are something American. It could be anything. Jamaican American, Cuban American, Haitian American, it doesn't matter. You're an outsider most of the time. So I don't, you know what I mean? I don't. You can make up your shit. You can talk about you ain't getting no response from me. My only response would be, I know you're saying that you're doing a whole bunch of magic. You're not gonna be able to kill me. So whatever. That's it. I know I could affect you more than you could affect me. So I don't have time for that. Right? Sometimes you gotta be a grown up. But I say that to say there's people who I respect and they're outsiders, right? Meaning, you didn't come from this like that. You know what I mean? You didn't. You didn't come from this like that. And even if you did come from it, even sometimes those who haven't come from it like that, right? Sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes it's more like you learn from somebody else who came from that world or something, right? And the reason why I say that is because outsiders say this all the time and it's wrong, right? And they think it's true because somebody lied to them. They'll be like, Ifa started. Listen, let's just be honest. What are the systems that people know about more? Palo, Ifa, Voodoo, right? And then to a lesser extent, you got Obia, and then you have different systems, right? That are smaller. But on this side of the world, those 3, right? That's what they kind of know. And so when outsiders come in, specifically people from America come in, and I hear this all the time. I hear this shit all the time with Americans. And I'm gonna tell you, stop letting out, they're outsiders. They don't know shit. They don't know shit. Do you understand that most of the time, when you even, let's say, born in America, and I was born in America, when you're born in America and go back home, it's such a big difference, right? Most people, especially, this is the problem. You guys would look at it and be like, well, the Hispanics, they're half white, they mix in Catholicism, that's not the pure shit. So let me go back and get the pure shit. That's not how shit works. First of all, it's not how shit works. I know that's what you guys want to, like I said, anybody else can come and make a, like, listen, I don't respond outside. I don't even, like, nigga, you could be a bow from where, I'm not even responding to you either. Like I said, you want some OTO shit? You want some Delima shit? Your prosecution? You're going to get a response from Siris King. Other niggas, I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm just keeping it 100. You can say whatever you want to say. You know why? You know why I do that? Because if you really were plugged in, you would never have beef with a nigga like me. That's why. If you don't know the difference, you haven't been around no nigga who's really plugged into some ATR shit, because the ATR shit is really for real. It's tied into street shit. I'm sorry to tell you that. You go to Jamaica, you go to places, the Obeah man, it's connected to the gangsters. You definitely go to Venezuela and Colombia and Mexico, it's connected to the gangsters. If you don't know that shit, I have nothing to tell you. And I haven't seen, and most niggas on YouTube, right, talking, who would have a comment, you ain't connected to this shit, so you don't got to respond. I'm not responding to you. I'm going to be honest with you. There's no need for me to do. Because you motherfuckers are telling people that, no, it's two different systems, you fucking idiots. Excuse my French, it's two different systems. It's a recreation. And not only is it recreation, if you were really plugged in, you would actually know, because of the slave trade, the counterparts in Africa and West Africa itself were depowered. Not fully, but there was slight alteration. You're not going to know that because you only deal with ancestral aspects of those energies. There's two aspects, the ancestral aspect and the energy in its pure form. If you're dealing with just the ancestral aspect, chances are you're not going to know that. Just saying. You can spend shit, you can spend 20, 30 grand on initiation. Now that's your problem. So I'm trying to save the motherfuckers here from doing that shit. Not because, and like I said, not because I don't think they should be initiated. I said in the video, initiation could help you. And because motherfuckers ain't plugged in, you might need initiation more. But unfortunately, because people mix racial consciousness with spiritual consciousness, and they could be connected, but it's still two different things at the end of the day. Especially when you're doing it politically. It's one thing if you say, I come from this lineage, like you got bona fide systems that are passed on by blood. That's racial. Bona fide. Then you got other systems that could be passed on by blood, but it's more decentralized, so it's up to the people who have their own established order within that system's umbrella. They can do what they want. Then you got other systems, ancestral, who doesn't make that distinction at all. Like, stop letting people who are outsiders at the end of the day tell you about how all of Africa does stuff. And when I say Africa, I'm counting the parts in the diaspora. When a person said African Americans can't take orders from, they can't, but guess what? Like from Africans. And I don't like to look at it as taking orders. I think African Americans have their strength, Africans have their strength. African Americans build some shit here that even when an African comes here and they're making money, they couldn't do that shit if it wasn't for the struggle of the African American or the black man of America. They couldn't do that. Even to this day, the most notable black culture worldwide is black culture from America. And I'm not saying this as some American, I'm a dick sucker. I'm just being real, right? So everybody got their own strengths. But I went into that because in reality, they should go to Cuba and Brazil and learn. And if they decide to go to Nigeria or Benin or whatever, right? If they decide to, or they can go to Haiti first. They can go to Haiti. But Haiti is, it's going through some shit right now. But they would have to know, even if you decide to do that, because what will happen is the systems in Africa are different systems. Palo doesn't even exist in Africa. Obeah doesn't even exist in Africa. Right? You see what I'm saying? Haitian voodoo is completely different than Benin and Togo voodoo. Just saying. It's completely different. But when you're thinking like an outsider, racial consciousness is just racial. You don't know that. So if you're not gonna want to get instruction from an African, I know you ain't going to get instruction from Hispanic. So when you got that much baggage, it's probably better to just do something else. That's true, no question. But you gonna have to get serious though. You don't tell me that you ain't African and then you tell me you're Egyptian. I don't want it. Like that type of shit is why I had to make a video. Like, oh, this is please don't tell me shit like that. You know what I mean? If you want to just, like, that's why I like the answer be secular. Yo, get into science. Get into politics. You know what I mean? If anything, you know, you could learn to meditate. Get into health. You get into shit that has nothing to do with spirituality. Because at the end of the day, I would say this: it's not gonna be popular. It's not. You better all picking up your Bible. If I'm just keeping 100. Like, so when the people come and say, so when you guys, some people who come and say, what has it done for Africans? I'm not gonna say that's a little ignorant and a little self-hate. What I would say is this. I'm gonna end it at this. I just wanted to keep this shit at 10 minutes. It's 16. I would say this: if you go with the Bible with a sincere heart, it brings wisdom. It brings a type of security, and within that, most likely, your finances would improve just off that. And we're in the West, no matter what color we are. And no matter what somebody wants to say, we do need financial security. So if somebody had to ask me, I'd be like, if you ask me, should I be Hotep? Hell fucking no. Should I be ATR? Yes, you could be ATR. Just get the right shit. And then they say, what's the chance of me getting the right shit? 3 out of 10, 30% chance. They're like, oh, I don't like those odds. I know. I know. That's why I said do something else. Right? Hotep, throw that shit out. Okay, well then, we become a Christian. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, I would rather you be a Jew. Not a Hebrew. Not 12 tribes. No, not that shit. Like, I would actually rather you do Old Testament shit, to be honest. But I know culturally, it might just be easy to do Christian. I would say go Christian. That's just me being honest. So, Siris King. Till next time. Peace.